I feel like Mike Jordan. Give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rap the game. I told them this ain't a game.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Right Side Rick, because that's the only side of my face that works right now. We got Jack and we got Eric here on today's episode of Big Leagues Chicago. Fellas, what is going on?
We're in a fantasy football battle. I'm not going to lie. I got 5 guys going in this Monday night game. I needed about, 20 points. So just looking at a little capitalization from some Philadelphia Eagles, and some Commanders guys. But no, I'm excited for another episode of Funch. I got to run a little bit early as usual, but Blackhawks are playing as we speak. We'll talk a little bit Hawks, little Bulls, then obviously H1M is what it sounds like.
H1M, it is him. Eric, how you doing, man? What's that? What you got on the sign behind you?
It's simple. It says, for me, American football is over for me. Time for the real football with a little small single bears. Just the little tiny support that I have left for the American Football National League of Association. Whatever this league is going to be called now for the next month. I really don't care.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to start off, like Jack said, with Hawks talk. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move into the Bears, break down their loss against the Lions. We're going to move into the C-Red segment, talk a little Bulls, and then finish it off with 4 stars of the week. Jack, the Hawks lost a close one in OT. Let's start off with Hawks talk. They lost a close one in OT against the LA Kings. I think they're 1-1 in the last week, right? They've only had a couple games. They're playing right now, but how have the Hawks been the last week or so?
Yeah, it's funny enough. It was the father's trip. So the fathers of all the players joined them to the West Coast as they traveled to LA for a game against the Kings, and then across the town for a game against the Ducks. Like you said, 2-1 loss in that overtime to the Kings. Unfortunately, LA was able to kind of seek revenge exactly a week from the day from the Blackhawks beating them in Chicago, and LA was unfortunately the better team. Peter Mrazek would end up stopping 33 saves. Jonathan Quick, 31 saves, 0.969 save percentage for the Kings, with being the winning goaltender in this one. Taylor Radish would have the one lone Chicago goal on the power play, assisted by Johnny Tays and Max Domi. Hawks jumped to the early lead in the first before former Blackhawk, if people will remember or not, but it's been quite a while. Philip Deneau scored his 5th on the year, tying the game in the second. Third would go scoreless. And then, of course, at 4:58 left in the at 4:58 in the overtime, so literally 2 seconds remaining in overtime, the LA Kings were able to win the game. And what do they call this place now? It's not the Staples Center anymore. It's the
the crypto.com arena.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, whatever the hell they call this place now. I mean, I missed the name, but it is what it is. And LA was able to take, the first game of the West Coast trip for the Blackhawks. And then they went, like I said, short trip across the town to Anaheim, where they took on a very young Ducks team. And it was funny enough, in the game, Jared Tenorti, a guy who was acquired, I believe, via waivers, would end up scoring 2 goals. One of them being a redirect off 2 different Ducks players, I believe, before finding its way into the net. And that would end up being the GWG game-winning goal for Tenorti, unassisted. And then Philip Roos, I believe is his name, the rookie as well, would end up getting one for the Blackhawks, assisted by Kane and Domi. And Tenorti with his first in the first period. Ducks did jump out to an early 2-0 lead. Former DU pioneer Troy Terry would end up getting on the board, assisted by Trevor Zegras. And then Adam Henrique was able to extend the lead before Chicago climbed back into this one and got things kind of really clicking. And I believe this was Soder Bloom who was in net for the Hawks? Yep, Soderblom.
Soderblom, yep.
Yep, 39 saves on 41 shots against, only allowing 2. Very, very stellar performance from the 23-year-old Swede. So very happy to see what he's been able to do. As you know, he's played 5 games, kind of unexpected as they brought in Mrazek and Stalik to take between the pipes. Mrazek kind of went down early with a quick IR stint, and then now Stalik, I believe, has a concussion after being run into. So it's been Soderblom's kind of crease for the last most recently. And now that Mrazek's back, you'll see him kind of split the time between the two of them. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting enough. I mean, this team continues to stay at, just they're floating a game above 500 at 15 points, a little bit more than you would have expected.
I don't think what Blackhawks fans who want the rebuild to happen want, right?
No, I mean, you're in front of 4 teams in that division. You're in front of 3 teams in the division in the sense of Arizona, Nashville, and St. Louis. St. Louis, the shocker, burying themselves to a quick 5-8 record. And then Nashville 6-8, as well as Arizona playing in the 5,000-seater Mullet Arena on the state campus of Arizona State. So the Coyotes are playing out of ASU's rink, which is kind of funny. But I mean, it's a very shocking start for this Blackhawks team. A little bit, for the fans that want that first-round pick and the fans that are watching the Bears, who are playing offensively great, but are also jumping in the draft rankings. I think their pick is now around a 5th round pick or 5th overall first-round pick at this point. So you'd like to see the Blackhawks kind of find their way into heavy odds for the lottery picks. But we'll see what happens. I mean, you got to love, as I say, week after week, they are playing in every hockey game for Luke Richardson, and it's unbelievable. I mean, they're getting outshot in pretty much majority of all games. But it's you're seeing a fight in this team that you didn't really see last year. You definitely didn't see under Colleton, and you're starting to see a lot for Richardson early in this fresh 2022-2023 campaign. I don't know. I mean, I'll open the floor to a few questions before I give a little ad boost to the Slotshot Western Conference division round break preview.
I guess that's what I was going to say, right? Because like you look at what they're doing, and I mentioned it. A lot of people who want the rebuild and who want a very high draft lottery pick for the Hawks probably not liking it, but you have to love the fact that these guys are playing that hard for Luke Richardson, and this is also a team that, from a few weeks before the trade deadline last year into the offseason, into this season, the talk was Patrick Kane and Tays are gone. This team's in complete rebuild. So these guys are really just kind of playing their hearts out, and you got to like it because, again, it's for Luke Richardson, first-time head coach, long-time NHL player. So you got to like it in the sense of that. Will they play themselves out of a top pick? I mean, maybe, but you got to love what these young guys are doing. And, the additions of like Domi and was it Soderblom, right? All these guys like just being added to the team in the offseason and through the trade deadline. Like it's nice. It's actually nice to kind of see the Hawks doing really well right now.
It is a nice little refresher. It's at least someone's using the United Center for meaningful, purposeful games, not taking a shot at the C-Red segment, but kind of am.
100%.
No, it's just you expected the flip-flop, and it was that case the last year, and I expected it this year, and it has been the case. So I guess it's just me being a little bit more disappointed on what they've put on the hardwood. But no, I mean, unfortunately, the Hurricanes did just take the early lead in this one at the United Center. Jack Drury with the early goal to lift the Hurricanes up 1-0 with about 10-15 left in the first period. So early start in that one. We'll see what happens. It should be an exciting stretch of hockey to at least watch in terms of what they have on the outlook for the next few games. They've got St. Louis in the building on Wednesday before traveling to Boston for a slate at 6:00 at the TD Garden in Boston versus the Bruins. And then on Sunday to end the week, the great 81, you saw him at Soldier Field on Sunday on the Instagrams, on the Bears accounts, Marion Hossa, the 81s going up in the rafters on Sunday. We will have a little bit of I'll have a camera inside the building for that one, so we'll get some stuff on the Star Six account, and
Nice.
should be a little bit of an emotional one for all those Haas lovers out there.
He was getting emotional too, talking about it.
Oh, it's there'll be some wet eyes in the crowd for sure. I mean, 81 was a big role of that team and the dynasty, of course, and unfortunately developed skin issues to reactions to his equipment, and that kind of ended his ability to be able to play hockey. And it came to the point in his final season he wasn't practicing. And I know you hear this about guys like NBA vets and stuff like that. Like, he literally did not practice at all. Like, his last year, he just played in games, and then he'd take a few games off here and there. And the guy fought for every milestone, and that's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and why Big 81 is going up in the rafters. I mean, how could you forget the sliding knee celebration versus Nashville? Eric, I hope you even remember that one. Just to make sure you're awake down there.
I'm good. I got you.
It was a regular.
I'm hearing it.
It was a regular season, so Eric was paying attention at that point. I think the regular season for him, meaning playoffs.
It was. See, Rick, I know I could count on you, buddy.
Oh, my boy Eric, love the guy. But no, it's exciting stuff from the Blackhawks so far. You do want to see continued improvement. Even though you kind of expect continued failure, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And given the fact that those important dates, once they approach, we'll see what this team ends up doing. Kyle Davidson already not afraid to put his mark on this team as he did, dealt in the offseason, but we'll see what happens there. Quick plug to Slapshot Podcast. Unfortunately, after some technical difficulties, we were a little late on getting that one released, so it came out, I believe, early Sunday morning versus Friday. Like we talked about, it will be on a Friday schedule from here on out, but we will have the Western Conference preview this week, and kind of the results of Saturday's picks as we've posted on the Instagram. I believe Alex, who was in the cellar, who lost the 3 up, 3 down around the horn, is already jumped to an early lead, Rick. So it's a a shift in the balance there. So we'll see if
his luck's turning. Look at that.
Exactly. We'll see if Alex is able to pull this one out, but no, definitely go tune into Slapshot on Friday. Definitely. Another fun episode coming out, and then of course just to plug our boy Eric down there, because I said I love him so much. EAFP got the World Cup starting this week. Should be exciting stuff for the soccer world, if not, as his sign says, American football. Nah, not anymore. It's the real football, is what he said. Soccer.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Soccer.
Sorry, look, I'm Mexican. Okay, I call it football. So if I want to do the translation right,
that's right.
Football.
I know. I gotta rip into you. I gotta.
I mean, I get it. And then it's one of those healthy debates, like the Americans, how or the American side over here likes to call it soccer, and because they already have football, and then the rest of the world call it football. So just me being Mexican. That's all.
I get it. But yeah, like I said, exciting week on EAFP. Regular episode this week, and then Sunday.
Love it.
The World Cup coverage starts this weekend. I don't know. Any other questions on Hawks talk? Otherwise, happy to send it over to Bears Breakdown.
No, I'm all good on the Hawks. They're down 1-0, like you said, early in the first. So hopefully they can kind of pick it up. And I don't know. Are you? I guess what do you want? Do you want to win? Do you want to lose? Do you want them to keep losing? Like, I don't like me. I want the team to keep winning. Like, that's just me. Like, I don't know about you though.
I mean, I'll never be upset about a win. I'll be first to put my foot on that. But I'm very realistic about what this roster looks like and what the roster constructed of the teams that are built to compete in this league look like. It just does not resemble one. And maybe with the serious steps forward, it looks like Max Domi, a little bit of a revitalization since wearing the Blackhawks uniform. He's been a fresh addition. Your boy Athanasiou, as you like to call him by other words, he's been pretty impressive for this team as well, and you're seeing the depth of this lineup actually be crucial, because they really do have to kind of roll 4 lines, and if they do go down to 3, it seems like they're relying on their top 6 to do a lot more than what a top 6 would look like on a team like Tampa or Colorado or the others that are out there and contending in this NHL.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, like you said, I'll never, be disappointed about a win, but it's rebuilding. I love that the young guys are playing for Luke Richardson and hopefully we'll keep it going. Johnny Blasphemy has joined the chat.
What's
What
going
up,
on,
Johnny?
fellas? What up? What up?
Joined at the
John?
right time. Johnny
What's up,
Parlay,
man?
as I like to call him, Johnny Parlay.
Yeah.
We've just talked. So we just did the Hawks talk. Now let's move into the Bears breakdown.
Ooh.
Bears lose a heartbreaker against the Lions. And if you caught the live stream, you had me on it. You had our resident Star 6 Media Lions fan, Alex, on it during the game. What a heartbreaker that was. Just to kind of give you guys an overview of the game, first quarter, 3-3 tie. Lions went up 10-7 in the second quarter on a pass to one of the tight ends. And then Fields rushed for 1 yard for a touchdown after getting away from a sack. What I thought was a sack during the game for sure. Going into the third quarter, Kmet scored on a touchdown from Fields. And then again on a 50-yard touchdown pass from Fields. Bears go up 24-10. They're up by 2 score going to the fourth quarter. And then that's when the fourth quarter, it was just a crumble after that. It's just some questionable calls on defense. Swift did really well on this running touchdown. That put them within 7. Then Fields overthrew Kmet on a pick 6 to Okuda, I believe. He brought it to the house. And then Fields made up for it. 67-yard touchdown run. Definitely a beast. And unfortunately, Carlos Santos, missed the PAT. And that's kind of what happened, because then Jamal Williams scored a rushing touchdown. They went up 31-30, and the Bears couldn't get into field goal position with about 2 and some change left. So disappointing win, really. 31-30 loss. The Bears are now 3-7 on the year. John, so what do you think the issue was this time?
Man, that missed field goal came back and hit us like walking a guy in the 9th inning, man. It bit us in the ass. We shouldn't be putting up 30 points and losing. But I mean, this is the rebuild, man. This is what it's like, We traded away everybody on defense, literally traded everybody, but pretty much Eddie Jackson and Jalen Johnson, and this is what happens,
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's gonna be like. I mean, respectfully, the record for the Bears is exactly where the Bears are, that they are their record, to be honest. But to lose this way to the Lions at home. Like their Fields just completely, went off. Like you said, he made up for his pick. It's definitely a heartbreak loss at the end. It's one of those losses like if you were drunk at the game or watching the game, you sobered up in that last 2 minutes. You were sober.
And honestly, like this was when they're going into the fourth quarter with a 14-point lead. You would expect like, oh, they got this in the bag. They're gonna get a dub. Like it's the Lions, and I hate losing the Lions, but one of the biggest things that happened, right, was Jack Sanborn, unsigned rookie list this last offseason. Bears brought him up after getting rid of Roquan, got an interception, but it was called back. They got an interception in the red zone off Goff, but it was called back because there was a hands to the face by Jalen Johnson, apparently.
Soft ass league.
And that's what happened. And that's kind of what has been the theme for the Bears the last 2 weeks is like these calls from the refs are just killing us. And that's that's what's happening. So I don't know. It just sucked. Eric, you were definitely one in the live stream, like, yo, these calls are soft league. You didn't like them. You're like, that didn't even happen.
Yeah, man, it's frustrating to watch where like the inconsistency from the refs. Look, I get it. I'm me being the soccer guy here, right? That's the one thing I think every fan likes to complain about is, the ref. That's the reason why their team lost, yada, 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 so on and so forth. But in all reality, the Bears actually shot themselves in the foot this time. Yes, you're gonna have some calls not go your way. It's part of the game. It happens, right? We can't bitch and moan about that every single time. But for back-to-back week guys, though, it's kind of like you're right. Jalen Johnson apparently Austin Powers the guy right in the neck, and he just falls down. It's one of those. What else was a bad call that I'm trying to think of? The Jared Goff one. Dude still wasn't out of bounds, and he tripped on
Oh
himself.
yeah, yeah,
Like he
yeah,
tripped on his own 2 feet going out of bounds. It's just
yeah.
like he just made a dramatic slide and almost hit the damn bench and everything like that, and the players got pissed. I think if it wasn't on the Lions side of the field, I think they would have never called that one. But it was what it is. It's just, but the Bears though, man, Justin, man, like you don't do that, Cairo, man, like. You gotta do what
Yeah,
you gotta do, man. And I was telling
yeah.
you in the text. I'm not sure if I was telling you. I don't know which group text it was, but I was saying
Mhm.
something is off about Cairo's kicking form. And I seen that literally from the get go. Like you see how an NFL kicker kind of winds up, and they almost had the same similar stance, right?
Yeah.
But it felt like he was nursing an injury and he was fighting through an injury because his stance was kind of weird. I don't know if the wind was affecting him too much or whatever the case may be, but his kicking form wasn't a regular kicker's form, if that makes any
No,
sense.
Eric, I think to your point, I think he had 2 kicks. One went out of bounds. One didn't really go anywhere, I believe, and he had one that nearly did go out of bounds. And they were saying on the post game
Yeah,
to shout out Jose a little bit as I was listening to it is they were saying he just didn't look right. So
Yeah.
I think you're spot on with that take.
yeah, it was just awkward. I mean, the whole entire game was just awkward. The moment Justin, threw that pick. Now look, you gotta get credit where the credit's due, right? The defense only gave up 24 points.
Yep.
Offense
Mhm.
scored 30. In a normal, average NFL Sunday, you win those games, guys. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
the pick six.
absolutely.
The pick six just it did kill us. Justin did, he even said it. That changed the whole momentum of the game because the Lions just scored, and
Yep.
now you give them another one, an opportunity. It,
Mhm.
it was it was it was a game. It's one of those games where it depends how you feel. Either you feel like, all right, cool, the Bears lost, we need a better draft pick,
No.
or it's one
Uh,
of those. It's like, man, you know what? Like, it's cool that my Bears are competing, but this is another game this season where the Bears are close and we can't pull off a W, and it's not,
And
and it could be damaging to this team. It could not. It could be a learning lesson, but it just depends on how you feel. Like
mhm.
this team, in order for them to grow, they need to win the tight ones, and again, they faltered at the end.
And that was one of the things that I was looking at too, because I was like, the Lions of last year were similar to the Bears, right? Again, and they've been the same way this year too. They're in those games, they're close, but they're not winning, and that's exactly what I don't want to happen. It could take a huge effect where maybe if losing to the Dolphins, okay, but losing to the Lions yesterday, like no, like there's no way they should have taken that L.
mm-mm.
Was it close? Was it a pick six? Sure, I get it, but you got to find the way in those last 2.5 minutes to get into field goal position at minimum. The line, literally, Jose, what's up? What's up? The line literally crumbled in that 2 minute drill, and it was just mayhem from there. Like you have to get those tight wins, like you said, because it can absolutely, I believe it can be detrimental to the team going forward. And then next year, when we expect at least like maybe like a 8 to 10 win season, with like the possibly upgraded weapons. Jack's laughing. I had the Bears in the playoffs this year, by the way. But if next year with the upgraded weapons, the draft, all this, and they still are doing the same things they're doing this year, then you can look back at this year and be like, well, that's because they're losing games against the Lions.
Facts.
No, yeah,
Quick,
100%, man, 100%. And I just, again, like I don't want to be. What week is this, guys? This is what, week 10?
10.
Week 10.
Week 10. I don't want to be looking at week 10 and already looking at the draft class for next year. Like that's one thing. Like it's already getting kind of overplayed and tiresome too.
Yeah.
It's week 10. We already know where the season's going. Now we got to look at the draft class. And to be honest, I know a couple weeks ago Jose was talking about trauma and this and that. If you really want to talk about really good trauma, the trauma is that the Bears kind of struggle in the first round. And no matter what position it is, no matter where they're at in the order, they struggle in the first round to get a first round talent. Like,
They
and
do.
that's the one. And that's the one thing. It's kind of like, okay, guys, like you're cheering for losses, but what have the Bears done within the last couple years outside the random few? Like, look how far it has been from Justin Fields to hit in the first round to Roquan Smith. And before
Yeah.
that, when was the last time the Bears hit before Roquan Smith? You know, it could be Kyle Long, it could be I don't know who else. I don't know who else I'm missing on it. Kyle Long,
What's wrong with Kevin White?
Kyle Fuller was also
Kevin White?
Greg
Still in the
Olsen.
league.
He really
There's
is.
gaps. There's
Still in
gaps
the league.
between the first round draft picks and everything like that. So for us to be like, okay,
Yeah.
let's get a high draft pick. I'm like, if there's one thing that the Bears don't do right, is getting talent in the first round.
I don't disagree with that. I think quickly, because I got to run here in a second. Just to recap, 9 penalties for 86 yards. It's always going to be a killer. And it sucks, but it's just kind of the reality of what it was. The Sanborn pick, also brutal. But got to win, single score touchdown games. And I think that's kind of really what they're getting a firsthand lesson at here quickly, because it seems like most of these games we're in, they're close. And we saw that in Minnesota. We saw that here again in Soldier Field. We saw that against
Miami.
the Dolphins. We've seen that all time and time after again this season. So hopefully they can start winning these games that they're in close, and you know what you're going to expect from the defense. I know 24 points seemingly should get the job done for you, but it still feels like it's just the D's shit. But it's just kind of the reality of it. Boys, have a good episode. I appreciate you guys having me on. Tune in for the
Jack.
chats, but talk
Be
soon.
safe, bro.
All right, see you, Jack.
Go Gunners. Later, Jack.
Peace.
Let's go with comments real quick. Comments and hey, John, thanks, dude. Hoodie. Not only it looks badass, it is comfortable.
It looks good.
It's comfy.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
God, I feel
go
warm
pick it up
inside with
tomorrow.
this one.
I got to get me
Bet.
one.
So-
I
wait, you
have,
got
I
that
think
at
I
your
have your
store?
size. Yeah,
Bet.
I got you. We got
You got a
Martin
USA one?
Duff, man, who was at the game yesterday too as well.
He
Mario
was. He
said
didn't
chiming in
invite
for
his
a
boys,
bit.
man. You didn't
what
invite JCA Star 16. Invite us, bro. Be your own boys.
Selfish, bro. He's selfish. He's swole. He's swole just for himself, man. That's not fair. He doesn't want to share his swollenness.
Right?
But he says chiming in a bit late. But even though we lost, but the Bears are looking good. What more like Justin Fields? And then his comment kind of screwed it over, even though it's already on the screen. More like Justin Fields looks great, except for the pick 6. But that could all happen to any quarterback. Great rushing game, but overall we are getting better, and we're figuring out who's working well with Fields and who's not. It's entertaining, but a great learning lesson for like the 3rd week in a row. Even though we lost it was lit at Soldier Field, so our fan base is riding strong with the Bears. I mean, you kind of heard that too yesterday during the TV, depending how loud you had your TV. And Jose, I don't know if you heard it over the airwaves, but the Bears did sound pretty loud yesterday. Let's go Bears! You hear the crowd into it. Like everybody's really excited about this team. Maybe not now and for the future. He says, "In Justin, we trust in."
I love that. I love that. I
he
love
said
that.
back-to-back games with great plays by Komet. Welcome to the party, Komet. He must have read my comments, laughing my ass off. And trust me, it worked too, because he gave me a solid 20-some-odd points in my fantasy league.
There you
First
go.
time in
decent.
ever that I had more than 4 fantasy leagues. I am undefeated, going 8-0 this week.
Damn.
Jose, that's your boy right there, Komet. Komet right there. That's all you.
Cole Komet. Yeah, hell yeah. You already know. Notre Dame. I'll tell you what. I was almost writing him off for this season. I was writing him off for this season.
Yeah.
I was like, let's pick up his let's pick up his successor over there in Notre Dame, Michael Mayer. I was getting to that point. I was like, you know what? Let's drop Komet, pick up Michael Mayer, because Michael Mayer in Notre Dame right now is a dog. He is that offense alongside Austin Estime. But Cole Komet finally did it, man. He's doing his thing. That's the tight end we've always wanted. If he can continue and Justin Fields continue to find him, then he's going to be one of the at least top 4, top 5 tight ends in the league.
Yep.
My thing is we can't underestimate the presence of Claypool. I said it last week, and I'm saying it again this week. He probably doesn't know the offense as much, which is probably why you don't see too many catches from him. But just even having him out there as a decoy,
Yeah.
It's helping this team out because you're open because it's opening up Darnell Mooney, it's opening up Cole Kmet, and it's not a coincidence. Ever since Claypool was added to this offense, that those two guys are now finding scoring chances. So great pickup. If we can get another good solid wide receiver in this upcoming draft, because I don't see too many of them in the free agency, then we're trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
sure.
And you talk about, Mooney and Kmet, right? Kmet, 4 receptions, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mooney, 4 receptions, 57 yards. Claypool only played 19 snaps, which was a little weird because Eberflus was talking about getting him more involved in this week. But again, he's learning the system, like you said, right? 1 reception for 8 yards, so kind of is what it is. But to your point, though, he's opening up Mooney and he's opening up Kmet, who, by the way, Kmet, 5 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He only had 3 touchdowns in his entire career before that. So that's impressive. He's becoming an immediate red zone target for Justin. And, you love it because he's a big bodied tight end. He is from Illinois. I think he's from Chicago or one of the suburbs, went to Notre Dame. He's just one of those local guys that you really want to succeed. And when we got him in the first round, or second round, wherever it is we got him, you were like, yep, we got our tight end. And just kind of like Mario said, this offense with Getsy is now pinpointing who's going to be productive with Fields. Chase Claypool, only his second game. So if there's anybody out there going, Chase Claypool sucks or Chase Claypool isn't good for this offense, give it the rest of the season into next year. Let's give it a bit. But these weapons for Fields right now, like they are actually stepping it up. And I think to your point, the addition of Chase Claypool and just the way that Justin Fields is developing plays a huge part in it.
Yep.
Yeah, but also at the same time, like Jose said, you may use him as a decoy. That's fine. That's fine and dandy and all, but like he's not 6'3", 6'4", 2 something for no reason. I mean, if you could just go a seam route, down the line, or just a goal route or something to expand the field, hey, you just do it. It may be the same play over and over for him. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But like Jose says, if he's doing this to create that for everybody else, not only just Mooney and Komet, but also, you've seen Pettis yesterday with some decent catches too as well in certain situations. Pringle, I think he only had 1 catch, and St. Brown had like probably like the rushing yards and 1 catch. But even if you gave up not only a second round pick, but your second round pick, who right now at the moment is looking like the 5th or 6th pick in the second round for next year's draft, use the guy. It's not that hard. He has the speed to go just.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing, Eric. I feel like they do have him out there not only as a decoy. Maybe they are looking for him to find himself open, but I think he's shown in Pittsburgh. I think he's showing that he really isn't a number 1 wide receiver. I think we all knew that when he came in. He's just as good as Mooney, if not just a little bit better. So he's not going to get those opportunities, especially if he doesn't know the playbooks. If you just want him to run a seam route, and if he can't get open, he can't get open. That's just who he is. We don't have a clear-cut number 1 wide receiver on this team, one that will be a number 1 wide receiver on any other team. We don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't think Claypool's that guy. I really don't think that. So you can't really ask that from him if he has yet to show you that in his career.
I really think Claypool can be that guy here, though. Personally, I think he's more talented than Mooney. I mean, we got to wait and see if the Bears go out and sign or trade for a big name wide receiver 1, like a legit wide receiver 1. But we saw last game he was pretty effective, had some bogus calls. I don't know, but he had some really he was targeted a lot, especially in crucial moments. This week he did kind of fall off, but we had Fields and Kmet, doing it all. But I just think it's going to take some more time, but I definitely can see Claypool being that guy going forward the rest of the season, having that connection with Fields, because he's very talented. Personally, I put him above Mooney and Kmet, and definitely the other wide receivers on our team.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So I just think it's just about him, getting used to Fields, getting their timing right, getting the playbook together. But I have big expectations for Claypool going forward the rest of this season.
And to Eric's point too, this guy's 6'4", 200-something pounds. Like, he may not be the number 1 for the Bears, but I think right now he has to play that way. He has to play as the number 1.
Yeah.
Mooney's the speedster. Mooney's the like I guess our version of Tyreek Hill, just nowhere near as fast or nowhere near as good. But like he's a speedster that if you
He's
need to
a
kind of hit him on the seam, you can get him.
he's a baby cheetah.
Yeah, he's a baby cheater right now. But let's talk about what Fields did in this game because he went 12 for 20, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had the pick 6, which kind of makes it look bad, but he also had 13 carries, 147 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns, capped off by that 67-yard rush. He continues to prove that if you give him space, I mean, you don't even have to give him space. He can make plays with his legs and he can go untouched. I mean, on that 67-yard run, he went untouched and he absolutely torched that defense. Fields is just, man, he's looking good. And in his press conference, I think he said something about just, about that pick 6, talking about that's never going to happen again in my career. I love that he's like saying this in front of the media, in front of the fans and everything, because when you look at that press conference after the Commanders game, he's like, everybody's always saying we're almost there. We're almost there. I don't want to be almost there. I want to win games. And this is what he said this press conference too. I want to win games. So it was really after that Commanders Thursday night football game where this all kind of changed. The offense, the scoring, the execution, his running really kind of just evolved. And I don't know, it's him, man. We've been saying it. It is him. He is him. Justin Fields is him.
Absolutely. Print it. Put it on a t-shirt, Rick. Put it on a t-shirt.
We're gonna put on a t-shirt.
No, man, but to bounce off of what you said, Rick, like you said, Fields is doing it all. They're finally catering to his strengths. We've been crying for this for years. Stop trying to make a quarterback fit your system. I will say though, it is a little concerning, having him be run first, because you saw that towards the end of the game where you just have Fields scrambling on forever until he either gets sacked or throws interception. And I think it speaks more to like our wide receivers not being able to get separation, but it's we see it all the time. Do you want your quarterback taking that many hits, especially so young? But unfortunately, in this league with quarterbacks, known run first, which is what looks like Fields is going to be going forward, a run first quarterback. They just take a lot of hits, and it's a little frustrating. I mean, yeah, it works out. There's times he's scrambling on forever. He dodges like 6 tackles and gets in the end zone. But then you see where, he's trying to dodge 4 guys and is running back, and boom, sack.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a toss up on what you're going to get when you see Justin Fields scrambling. But because of the athleticism, he can pull it off. But it's still, again, it's National Football League. He is a quarterback, so you would like to see him not need to scramble so much to get freed.
And man, it's great when he's laying Lions out in the end zone. Like one guy got hurt after that 1 yard rushing.
Yeah.
Just laid him out.
But that could have easily been Fields getting hurt. And then what's the story today?
Exactly. And that was one of the things that I remember hearing former Jets coach Eric Mangini talking about. I think what he said was correct. Like Fields he's playing his game right now, like you said, John, right? I think over the rest of the season, going into next year, he's gonna develop that passing game, which will eventually not have him be like run first or having to run or having to lay guys out. Then his passing game is gonna evolve. He's not just gonna do 13 completions. He's gonna go into mid to upper 20s for 300 yards, hopefully. And then that way, he broke the records on his feet. Exactly, right. Dude, you're telling me. And he's not breaking records on his feet, but he's breaking records in the air now as a Bears quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's slowly but surely we need to make that transition. Soon. I guess real soon, because we don't want that situation. I mean, look what happened to Cam Newton. I mean, he was a dog, big guy, everything, and
he was laying out guys.
He was Superman for a reason.
Yep.
He celebrated that, and I think that's the perfect comp of how Justin Fields has started. I mean, he may not be as big as Cam Newton, but he's almost there. He's almost there. Cam Newton's size, and after a while, it does take a toll on a running quarterback, especially, it doesn't matter what size you are. You could be RG3 soft, or you could be Cam Newton big. Everything in between, you still take the same amount of hits. Some are harder than the others. And you're right. We want to see him develop, whether if it's a quick pass, quick screen, or even air it out. And as we go back to the comments on Facebook, Mario says Claypool works great as a decoy, but the man is 6'4" ish. Most defensive players are probably 5'1" to 6. I mean 5'11" to 6'1".
5'1".
Throw that ball in the air because 8 out of 10 Claypool will make that catch. He
Mhm.
says I think he can get it done. Bulls got Air Jordan. Bears got to unleash Eric Claypool. Give him and Justin a little bit more time to work on the offense together and watch them snap.
Snap.
He says, don't forget Fields laid out that guy. Unfortunately, not what you want to see. It's anyone on any team. He got a concussion. I hope he has a speedy recovery. He also said something else that threw me off. Speedy recovery, but Fields is not afraid to push and tackle and lay dudes out of the play. Next thing you know, he says, but I like I said before, over and 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 over again. He built that offensive line for Fields and has so he has plenty of time to dominate in the air. If not, they're already made room for him to run. And you can see, and you can easily tell he's right. You can easily tell that they have designed plays for him. And I think out of the first 7 plays, like 4 or 5 of them, 3 or 4 of them were like already designed run plays for Justin Fields to do so. Yep. And he could go and create, like he said, create that touchdown run. He created it. That 67 yards. There was other plays too outside on the flat. He created those, but you're right, guys. We just need to see Justin Fields the passer. You can tell he needs a lot of work. The interception was his fault. Instead of throwing it at the feet, what he should have done was just either throw it at the feet instead of throwing it in the air, trying to find something for Cole Kmet, who was his guy that day. And I don't know, Jose, how you having the insider, man, like how demoralizing was it, not only just for us as Chicago Bears fans, but also for everybody else around?
Oh man, it was. You know what? The feel after the game was definitely disappointment. And look, this was nothing like last week when you're facing a really good Miami Dolphins team, and nobody's really picking you to win, but you make it such a close game. So we're like, hey, you make a couple mistakes and you end up losing the game. But it's one of those games where you face a really good team and you lose. You're proud of, because you know what, my team is good enough to compete with a team like the Miami Dolphins, who look like a legit playoff contending, maybe even championship contending team. I mean, look, right? I'm just saying, but the Bears went toe to toe with them. Then you go here against a Lions team I feel were a tad bit better than. You know what I mean? And you guys are basically the same. No defense, all offense. So it's like who's better? And you lose, but the way you lose is because of penalties. You don't lose because your offense didn't score enough points. No, you scored 30 points. But it was the defense this time. It was the penalties that killed you throughout the game. And coming from a team that's one of the least penalized teams in the game, I think that was more disappointing than anything. We heard Eberflus say it on the post game on the radio. You know, he was going to look back on the tape to see if there really was penalties going on, if maybe there was just some missed calls. But that was probably one of the main things he was going to look at, because that is what did them in. Obviously, the missed field goal from Santos was basically the point that lost us the game. But you don't get much games from Santos like that. He's pretty accurate. Yeah. You know, so it's like he's gonna have bad games, and you expect that, and you're okay with that. But the penalty just wasn't. It doesn't fly. It can't fly, especially when you've been doing so well throughout the season.
Nah, man. Yeah, I get it.
Right, Johnny.
And us being
Johnny
and
Parlay,
us being those guys. Us being those guys that we killed Cody Parkey for not doing his job. You know, we killed him for missing that field goal and double doinking out of us in the playoffs and stuff like that.
You can't compare.
No,
you can't compare a playoff kicking, a win in the playoffs.
I understand
with a team that's ready to compete for a championship. You can't really compare that to one missed field goal from a guy who's pretty consistent in a regular season game that means nothing to you other than what? Really, it's just a win. You're not going to do anything this season. But I think you're comparing apples to oranges there.
No, because you're not really on the field. All you have to do is one job. That's kick the ball between the damn posts, man. That's all you have to do.
I would like to see you do that, Eric.
I could easily do that.
No, you cannot. Put it on the JCA Olympics, John. If you're listening, John,
I'm telling you,
put it on the JCA Olympics. Who could kick a field goal?
Out of all of you guys, I'm more athletic than putting you, Rick, Jack, John, and everybody else more athletic than all you guys put together.
How do you fit that head into that screen? How?
It's easy.
How?
It's easy. It's not that big. I literally
he's
know.
got-
I know my skill set, buddy.
You got
I
the
know my
cinema
skill
view.
set.
That's
Trust me
why.
when
No
I tell
way.
you, I can do it.
There's no way.
I could do it right now. I could probably do 40, if that. Maybe a little less than that. But for sure, I could have done it before. I mean, I could do it.
Man.
I could
I can do
easily do it.
45.
For everybody in
I
the
can do
comments, put
45.
the cap emoji in the comments. Put it. Cap emoji in the comments for Mr. Eric. I'll be like,
Nah,
put
most
it in
of
the
most of
comments.
people-
There
most
ain't
of the
no
people
way.
that- Trust me,
It's
most of the
happening.
people that are on here that know me, they know
It's
the
happening.
truth. Trust me
It's
when I tell
happening.
you this, homie. Trust me
Put
when I
it
tell you.
cap. Straight
we
cap.
we're gonna have a kickoff contest between
Yes.
everyone here at Star 6.
Yes, we
and
got
see
to.
if Eric can hit it from 40.
Carbs, he said, yes, the penalty especially killed us. That crucial one that took away the interception by Sanborn. That kid looks like a stud
Absolutely.
on Sunday. Yeah, he was. What is he? Isn't he from here? He's from Crystal Lake, no, or something like that. Or he's from
something like that.
Somewhere.
yeah.
somewhere right
Illinois.
there from the
He's
northwest
homegrown.
suburbs for sure. That's homegrown. Homegrown.
He had 12 tackles, 9 of them solo, 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for loss. This kid is good, man. This is one of the guys that I was really high on in the preseason because, you know, I mean, you look at someone who's like from Illinois, from the Chicago area, and you really want them to be good, right? We were talking about Cole Kmet. That's one of the guys that I was really high on too. And I was like, and he's shown out in these last couple of weeks. Obviously, he's no Roquan, but you know, double-digit tackles, 2 sacks, like he's killing it right now. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, Jose, you were talking about the defense earlier. This is another one of those games where we look towards the you know, the draft, the off season where we're like, we need an edge rusher bad. We need an edge rusher bad.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you say that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Justin Jones was looking okay, but I mean, we need an edge rusher bad.
It's funny you say that because we had a pretty good line before the season started, but we got it. We drove them all away. Khalil Mack, we traded away. Akeem Hicks, we just let him walk. We traded Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith. Can you imagine that team? Imagine that defense on this team with the offense finally clicking.
Yeah.
I mean, we might just be playoff bound. The only thing about that, I get why we needed to do it because a lot of those guys are older, a lot of those guys are injury prone, and a lot of those guys are making too much money. So I get it, I understand it, and just get quality players, and like as you mentioned in the defensive line, this upcoming draft or free agency, whatever. But can you imagine if we still had those guys and then the offense being the way it is right now in these last couple games?
It'd be insane. It would be
crazy.
Hey, don't forget
insane.
our boy Eddie Goldman too as well. He was also part of that stud defensive
He
team
really
too.
was.
As well. He
He
left
was.
to
That's
Tampa
true.
and he said, "Nah, this ain't for me anymore. I'm out."
I
He
made
literally
my
said-
millions. We're good.
Right.
Duffman says you can't compare Parkey to any kicker. That
Thank
man
you,
missed so many
Duff.
kicks, and he even took his talents to Tennessee, and he still did it there too. He was only consistent and hitting the poles more than any.
Thank you, Duff. You can't compare Parkey to anybody. You can't.
He's coming at me. He says,
Oh,
"Bro,
here we go.
where were you for all that? About did the kicking challenge, and
Right.
Chicago was hating on Parkey for missing that double doink from a 31-yard kick. Did you do it? No,
Nope.
because I don't remember anyone in Chicago doing it. You're my boy, bro, but I need to see you do it, and do it. LOL.
Do it.
We gotta do it. We gotta do it. We gotta do it.
I could tell you, we could go to Gately Stadium that's right here on 103rd and Stony, bro, and just do it.
Hey, we gotta do it quick before it starts snowing. All right, we gotta do it quick.
It's what do we call this? We call this bear weather, homie.
I
We do
get
this
it.
at
I
any
get it.
time of the
I don't
day,
want- I don't
homie.
wanna hear
Yeah.
We
I
got
want
a
no
kick in it.
excuses, but I want no excuses. I don't want no
Am I-
excuses.
am I-
It
am
was
I making
raining.
an
The
excuse
wind was
right
too
now?
long. The snow. No, I want no excuse. I want a good fair day to see what you're really made of. I want no
There's
excuses.
no excuses. I can do it
None.
anytime, any place, anywhere, bro. I ain't scared. You know, I may be over like 60 pounds overweight, but trust me when I tell you, even this 60-pound overweight guy can still take you on any sport anytime of the day.
Let's go,
The
Eric.
only thing I've been
let's
consistent in
go.
telling you this,
Let's
the only thing
go.
I've been consistent in telling you guys is that in a sprint and a dead ass sprint, that's not me. And that's the only thing I've been consistent telling you guys from day one since we started talking this crap, that is not me. But me being the way how I am right now, 60, 50 pounds overweight, trust me when I tell you, you guys still can't reach my ankles in your athletic forms compared to what I have, bro.
I can't wait. I can't wait to prove you wrong. I can't wait.
There's no proving me wrong, homie.
All
Trust
right,
me
we'll
when I tell
find
you. Carbs Go says we probably would have been a 500 team if we had that defense still with this offense who got their Mierda together. He said, he said, I'll even take a step and hold the laces out. There you go. Duff. Nah, man, you too slow for that, homie. We
Laces
need like
out.
somebody. We need, well, at least you know that the laces are gonna be out. So I'll give you that one.
Yeah, true.
He says, "Let's go, Finco."
I 100% agree with Carbs, man. If we had even like half the defense we had before,
Nice
the
defense.
off season last year, like we probably would be a 500 team, 100%. And this just goes to show like how important that cap space is going to be and how important these picks are going to be going into the off season. So I 100% agree. Like I think I don't know, like what would you guys rank in terms of like what should we either spend on or draft first? We're talking wide receivers, offensive line, and defense. What do you guys think is like number one to go after, either with the money or with the picks?
So it's easy. It's easier for you to find a pass rusher in the draft. I think any young pass rusher that's coming out of the draft, I think that's what you get right away, and that's who you get. Unless if it's like a stud linebacker, cornerbacks they're iffy. You hardly get those rookie cornerbacks that that show out. Obviously, what's the dude from New York from the Jets? What's his name?
Oh, Thibodeau.
No. From the Jets, the cornerback.
Sauce Gardner.
There you go.
Oh, Sauce Gardner. Yeah.
Right. Like those guys come in every once in a while into the league too as well. But definitely in the draft, if you're picking that high, you either do two things. You either get the best offensive lineman available or the best defensive end and or defensive tackle and or best rushing linebacker in that draft. I think that's the main thing you got to do in the first round. After that, I mean, you build. I think you build the offensive line and wide receivers with the salary cap money.
I could agree with that. Yeah,
that I think that's easier for you to build, and then if you could find yourself, another linebacker in there, or maybe even, I can't even say another corner because we don't know what Kyle Gordon is, and so far, I mean, he's gonna have the mistakes. It's a rookie year; he's gonna do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you could find your offense and maybe a defensive lineman in there to help you with the defensive end that you're going to get in the draft, it's easier to, and especially that your coach is a defensive-minded coach, it's easier to build that way. But for sure, in the with the salary cap, you need your wide receiver if there's one available. You need maybe another defensive lineman, whoever's there available to as well. Then after that, I mean, it's up for grabs, right?
True. Yeah. Jose, what do you think? And what do you think they should focus on? I guess the first thing.
The offensive line's a given. You can't have Justin Fields running the way he's running. I don't think it's sustainable. You know what I mean? I would like for him to be a Lamar Jackson. Yes, I think he's as talented, but for him to be your only really instant offense isn't really ideal, for a team. I want to see him as a passer. I want to see what he can do as a passer. But with that, you need to be able to he needs to have time to throw. So you work on the offensive line. I think you should focus on getting that number one wide receiver. We're not getting a free agency, like I said, but if you could do it via trade, or maybe trade some picks, or if there's one coming out of college that really stands out, someone like the guy from Cincinnati, Jamar Chase, someone like Jamar Chase, if you have a talent like that coming out, do it, get it.
Yeah,
you need it. You need it.
This upcoming draft, there's no wide receivers that are coming out to that type of level so far. I mean, there's a lot, but there's not that mind-blowing wide receivers coming out of this. Give me a second. Let me do my producing job and find the draft.
Then make the trade. Then make a trade. You know what I mean? You have enough draft. You have a lot of draft picks this upcoming season where you don't really have to use all that. If you could trade a couple or a few of them to a team with a wide receiver that's willing to leave, you know what I mean? I mean, why not? Why not? I don't see what the issue is there, right? But I honestly, it's the offensive line, it's the wide receiver, and then obviously sprinkle in some defensive players, ones that are going to help you at least get for this team to get better. But remember, we do have some rookies guys on this team that are only learning. Let's let them develop as well and see what they can do. But yeah, I want to focus on offense first, Rick, because I feel like that's the one thing we neglect year in and year out.
And I agree, because the first thing that I was going to say was 100% focus on the offensive line, because if we do want Justin Fields to not take hits, to not have to, break rushing records as a quarterback, we need to get him that pocket protection. And then once we're able to protect him as a passer and he elevates his game as a passer, we already have Chase Claypool under contract for another season. We already have Mooney. Cole Kmet is becoming the tight end that we wanted. You can always get Herbert, on an end around, dump it off to him. But I think the offensive line needs to be the priority, because if we want Justin Fields to play this game as a Bears quarterback for the next 10 years, as our franchise quarterback, we need to protect him, and we need to make sure that he is not taking these hits. He's laying guys out for sure, but he can't be laying guys out, even though it's fun to see.
It could have easily went the opposite way. The way he hit the one defensive player, he could have easily knocked himself out. You know what I mean? Or broke a collarbone. I mean, he's lucky he's a big, strong guy, but imagine if the guy was just a little bit bigger. It could have went worse. It could have been worse.
Eric's got the answers.
Yeah, I got that one. I don't know if I went to this one, but let's go with Duff first before I go to mine. Duff says, focus on the wide receivers first, then the O-line, then another running back, then defense. All in that order with the draft and with the cap money we have. He also goes on saying he can easily be or be better than Lamar Jackson. But the only reason why Lamar is better than Fields is only because he has a line that protects him.
Yep.
He has time to look up, pass, and great. And if it's not there, he runs and is successful because of the protection of the openings they give him.
Yep.
We do that and watch Fields be at or even better at that level.
Can you
I don't know how
imagine?
much this is true, guys, but I found the NFL mock draft real quick, and apparently the Bears are picking third. I don't know how true that is. I feel like there's like two more worse teams in the NFL.
It might be true because a lot of the same teams have the same record. But right before Eric, can you imagine a Justin Fields, Cole Kmet tandem like Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews has over there in Baltimore?
Andrews. Yeah. Oh man, that would be deadly.
That would be great. So right now the Bears are picking third, and what they have there on third is probably the best offensive lineman in college, and Osumaya Fanshu from Penn State. Dude is 6'6", 308, but he is slim enough to build, and his athleticism speaks for himself. That's what they got going on him right now. The best pass rushing defensive player is obviously Will Anderson from Alabama, the linebacker. That's going to head on to Pittsburgh unless Pittsburgh does something different and go another route for sure. But that's what they got going on for the Bears right now as an offensive lineman. Because basically they got the quarterbacks, and then the two defensive linemen from Georgia, Jalen Carter and Will Henderson, going 2 and 5. So again,
I guess
Mario says I think the Bears they have the 5th pick so far. That's why it's kind of felt like they're between
top
that
5.
3 and 5 threshold.
Top 5 would not be a bad pick at all. And the only thing I would have to disagree on with Mario is another running back. I think Herbert is a good number one. If we get rid of Monty, which I would hate if they got rid of Monty, but I mean, you don't pay running backs nowadays in the NFL. And then you have Ebner too, kind of, sitting on the bench, waiting for his opportunity. He's going to get it soon, I think, if not later this season in the preseason, because he looked pretty good in the preseason. So I don't know if I would necessarily draft another running back because of the glaring holes on the wide receiving end, the offensive line end, the defense, right? So I don't know. I think that's the only thing I would disagree. But if the Bears have a top 5 pick, I think they definitely take that offensive lineman.
Like I said, guys, if there's a decent pass rusher, it's easier to find that in the draft. And the offensive linemen are hit and miss. There's not a lot of Eric Fishers in the world who came on and made an impact when he was with the Colts. So that's the one thing about the linemen. Because, hey, the Bears have a track record of not picking good linemen in the draft. I mean, Kyle Long was a good one. But I remember Gabe Carimi. And remember, the Bears don't do well picking in the first round at all. And so we have to wait and see. Josh says, hey, guys. What up, Joshy Poo? He's on here in the comments saying hi. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll see how they prioritize, but I think if we want Justin to be him and to be him for the next decade plus, definitely get some protection around him. And that's kind of all I got on the Bears. You guys got anything else on the Bears?
No. Let's just hope, like I said, the offense can continue to do what it's doing next game, and and just no more penalties, man. Come on, get that under control. We should be good. We'll be all right.
Football season is officially over for me, guys. I'll see you next year.
Eric, boo, boo, Eric, boo.
Sounds like
Hey,
Eric.
man, look. I know this is off topic, real
Not
quick,
a real
but
team, not a real fan.
I have never had a World Cup in November or December, so this is weird for
That's
me.
true.
Okay, my
That is
Sundays are
true.
going to be packed starting at 5 a.m. to watching the very first kick of the World Cup, leading into the afternoon games, leading into NFL games, which I'm gonna have the soccer games on the big screen TV with the volume up and the Bears muted. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's one of those situations where it's a rarity for me because I normally compete with English football or Spanish
Yeah.
football or like just league football. I don't get the World Cup. I get it in the summertime. So this is
Yeah.
awkward for me. Okay, this is
Yeah.
weird.
This
But
is weird.
You only get it once every 4 years, so it's kind of like, like I have to embrace it because I have to love it because it's the best tournament in the whole entire world.
Do you think actually, because this does tie into to the NFL, do you think the ratings, the viewership will go down a little bit because of it being in the middle of the NFL season? Because I think it will.
So in the United States on Sunday, probably.
Yeah,
It just
100%.
it depends though because I mean the one thing for sure is that the United States men's national team play Monday, Friday, and Tuesday, I believe.
Mhm.
So that's already going to be a given, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, if you're like myself and that's a Mexican fan or a Mexican themselves and watch the Selección Mexicana, they're
Mhm.
playing Wednesday, Saturday, and I believe Wednesday again for their final matchup. It's the playoff round, but the playoff rounds don't kind of really interfere
Mhm.
with NFL Sunday because the games start at 9 o'clock and then the last game is at 11. So that 1 hour threshold, you probably will be competing
Oh, okay.
with or 12, I believe, but you're going to be competing with the NFL for like a half or two. And
Yeah.
that's the only difference. It's that Sunday game. And I believe the Sunday matchup for the World Cup is only one for this week, and that's at 9 a.m. So basically, they're going to get all the viewership from across the world between
Mhm.
Qatar and Ecuador. So, but it's the following week after where it's kind of be like, okay, we're going to compete and see where we're at.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought it was going to be a little bit more kind of intertwined there, but all right. Well, that was Bears breakdown. Let's
Ooh,
move into
real quick. Sorry,
Yep,
Rick,
go
my
ahead.
bad. Let me get to these comments real quick.
Oh, yeah,
He
for
said,
sure.
Josh says, man, yesterday's game was not as bad. I really like how we played. Yeah, a lot of penalties yesterday's game, but that kick from Santos, though, dope. He got that Mario. Duffman doesn't
Yeah.
agree. He says, go kick a football, damn it. I am the real one. I'll bring it here right now. Let me go bring my real football right now.
He's gonna bring a football. He's gonna kick it on camera right now. Oh, I love it. I love it.
I hope he would. I hope he fell. I was. Oh, I would have laughed if he would have fell. That would have been gold. Would have put it all over social media.
Jose wishing for violence on Eric right now. All right. Well, that was Bears breakdown. We're gonna wait for Eric to get his football. Sorry. Oh, there you go. He's got two of them. He's got a pair in his hands right now.
Commanders are up on the Eagles.
Yeah, they are 17-14. That's insane.
Upset City.
Eric, you brought two, huh?
Yeah, so this one I got the qualifier ball for the United
Nice.
States men's national team, the Nike one. Official as hell. That cost me like $120. This one is actually the ball for the final of the World Cup. I got this for like
wow.
$150.
Dang. Those are cool though.
It's the official one for sure. And then, I'm out of breath. I went running for that one. God damn. We got the final for the World Cup ball.
But you can kick a field goal, right?
Yeah. I mean, hey, all I'm doing is 3 steps and kicking, bro.
Come on,
I'm
man.
a goalie. By the way, don't forget, I'm a goalie, so it's a big difference. I had the
That's
advantage on
right.
that one too.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
Maybe it's a different ball, but I got the leg.
Mario goes, not that one, a football, not football. Pigskin, baby.
Call him Mario.
No, this is the real one right here, buddy.
All right, well,
one right here.
Let's move on to what I have on top of my head. Let's move on to the C Red segment. Jose, the Bulls, man, they look
Hold on.
rough.
They do.
They are looking rough. Jose's getting his hat on. We're matching now.
Let's
love
go.
it.
Let's go.
So Bulls have lost 4 or 5, 6-8 on the young season. Just the last 3 games over the last week, they took a win at home against Toronto, 111-97. Levine scored 30. Vooch had another double-double. Then they went on to lose against the Pelicans, 115-111. Levine scored 23 in that game. DeMar had 33. Vooch and 18.7 rebounds. And then they lose bad against the Nuggets, 126-103. And that was with 3 days rest, right? So they got torched by Michael Porter Jr. as he scored 31. Levine led all scorers with 21 points. DeMar had 16. P. Will had 15. What is it like? Is this expected, Jose? I mean, I don't know, man. Like they're looking bad early.
No, this team is not looking good at all. This is not what this. I don't think this was expected. At least not from me. Well, my voice cracked a little bit, but I don't. It's man, the defense. They have no defense right now. They're just allowing whatever team that comes in and plays them to do whatever they want. Last night, and you know what? Last night they were healthy, completely healthy. Other than Lonzo Ball, they had everybody who's available, who's healthy to play. They were playing. They were in that game, and for them to get blown out by Denver, credit to Denver. Denver looks really good right now. But when you have guys like Levine, Vucevic, DeRozan, and DeRozan didn't hit double figures last night. DeRozan only has 16 points. Levine had like 21, 24 points. But come on, like there has to be somebody other than DeRozan who's doing anything. You know, when they double DeRozan, what are they doing?
Exactly.
And that's what's been the Achilles heel. As soon as the teams know, let's just limit DeRozan from doing anything and try to see what these other guys can do. And when that happens, you start to see what these other guys can do, and that's absolutely nothing. And
it's a glaring issue, man.
Yeah.
Because the defense, you mentioned the defense at first. It seems like almost every single game, they're letting up anywhere between 55 to 60 points before the half. Yeah. And that is insane. That wasn't happening last season. They were scoring a lot of points in the second half of the games. Don't get me wrong, right? Like in crunch time, timeouts, all that stuff matters. But if in the first half, when you're letting up 60, you're 100% going to lose those games, like 9 out of 10 times. I think the only one they won was against the Raptors at home when they let up about 60 points in the first half. But and you mentioned doubling up DeMar, dude. It seems like that seems to be the answer against the Bulls, and the Raptors did it, the Pelicans did it, the Nuggets did it. It's just effective. And Levine coming off his rest, load management, all that other stuff. It seems like him for a week, 2 weeks until he completely rests up, because outside of DeMar, maybe Vooch is the best scoring option.
Vooch, and if you look at the bench, and you have Dragic. Dragic has been a really good pickup.
He has.
He's been consistent coming off the bench. Even Andre Drummond has been pretty good when healthy, when he's playing. Both those guys have proven to be good pickups, but they can't to me, they can't overproduce, or they can't produce a lot more than your starters.
Yeah.
Drummond with 12 rebounds yesterday, and Vooch only had like 4. Like, what's going on? Like, Vooch, step up, man. Like, how you getting out rebound by Drummond? Like, come on. But that just can't happen.
Yeah, like how are you getting out rebounded by Drummond? Drummond is a vet, but again, he's on the bench. Like it's just insane. And just kind of looking at some of this stuff, even against their win in Toronto, we talked about DeMar getting doubled up. That's limiting his scoring opportunities. And again, who's the next scoring guy after that? It really depends if Zach is playing or not. Their loss against the Pelicans, they actually led in that game, 97-93 with about 5.5 minutes left. Ingram scored 7 straight points. He put up a 3, put them up 109-107. And DeMar tied it with a dunk, but then he turned it over. And that was pretty much what sealed it, right? And then the Nuggets are one of the best shooting teams in the NBA right now. 60% field goal and almost 50% from 3. League leaders. And with 3 days rest, that's kind of what you come up with as a Bulls team. It's rough.
You know what? I was talking to somebody about this earlier at work, and they brought up Billy Donovan. Can it really be coaching? Can it really be like, and they brought up Laurie Marketing and how he's flourishing over there. Yeah. Like, if you look at Billy Donovan and the way that he's coaching, you don't really see a lot of play calls. You don't really see a lot of schematic plays that you would see in other teams. It's a lot up and down, running up, fast paced offense, and that's not working with the Bulls right now because I don't feel like they need someone like Lonzo Ball, the point guard, to be able to do something like that. They really don't have the personnel to do it. But I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, can it really be Billy Donovan in the way he's coaching? Like, is it a coaching issue? What do you think it is, Eric?
Yes, I think it's a little bit of both, right? It's a team where complacency was the key factor last year in not and not upgrading this team other than just adding a few 2 or 3 players. Also at the same time, it's also Billy Donovan. I feel we're seeing the Billy Donovan of the last couple seasons at Oklahoma. You know what I mean? It's like it's very stale, and I feel like it runs well with a point guard that knows what he's doing, and that's one of the key factors too as well. Because let's get it, Billy Donovan was never known for his defensive. Even when he was in Florida, although he had Joakim Noah and Al Horford on that defensive stat, I mean, when you having that, obviously you just have 2 giants on your team. But also at the same time, you've seen that after a while this offense gets stale, and it just again nothing proves. I don't think the Bulls have the talent capacity to compete with any of the other teams simply because they're very limited. They're very limited in the offensive standpoint. And when you're very limited on offense and you can't play defense, that's a recipe for trouble, and that's a recipe for not even being considered one of the top teams. Guys, first things first, it's good to see Michael Porter Jr. coming back healthy, right? After so many back surgeries. This guy's a baller. And this is what we're waiting for the Denver Nuggets and what the next step they're going to do. And when you have the MVP and Jokic on your team, man, that team looks really, really good. And it's going to be really, really tough in the West. But coming back with the Bulls, man, it's very stagnant. It's very stale. It's very like there's nothing different. And you're probably right. It's a combination of both. It's a combination of players and coach. Real quick, I know Duff is right here, and thank you, Duff, for being here on the show. Just him, Josh, and everybody else. Carbs, thank you for watching and commenting on the show too as well. He goes, and it's a long one too. Wow. Okay, all right. He says Bulls need to step it up in defense because it's showing that you can't close out in the final quarter, but even in the first half, is not looking better at all. Levine needs to step it up because DeMar is getting blocked. I think the Bulls need to make some changes in their lineups, shake up the starters and the bench to see what works. Because the Bulls need another scorer, a consistent scorer, and the Bulls need a better screen setup because they are mostly running fast pace versus them and setting up. And he stops right there.
To be continued. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there he goes. And maybe even start thinking of a trade. I know I'm his all-time fan, but Rose would be great on the bench even as a starter in Chicago. He's not being utilized in New York. Little playing time, and he's putting up good.
I don't know if Rose would do well in this offensive scheme as Eric and I were talking about. You remember he coached that Florida team that Eric talked about with Noah and Horford. That was a way different type of basketball play that you were seeing at that time. Now everything's a lot faster and everything's 3-point shooting. You don't see hold the ball, let's run some plays, let's do some offense. You don't see that type of basketball anymore. A lot of it now is just run up. You still have like 22 seconds on the clock and then just jacking up threes like it's nothing. You know what I mean? And I get why Billy Donovan wants to do it because that's the style of basketball it's going. It's trending in the league right now, but it's not working with this team. The personnel's not it, and you either got to get guys who can do that, who are better 3-point shooters, and maybe you'll start to see it flourish. But other than that, I don't know what else to do.
And Mario, you mentioned the fast pace versus them actually setting up plays. This is like one of the reasons I think Dalen Terry was picked up in the draft by the Bulls, because Dalen Terry is the guy who really brings that energy on those high tempo, like fast paced, fast break type of plays for a basketball team. Obviously he's a rookie, right? And we gave the starting job to Io is he's been good some games. He hasn't been there some games. Like he plays mad minutes, but somehow in the plus minus, he's always in the minus. But Dalen Terry, I think give him this season, plug him in, play him whenever you can to get that fast break, fast style of play. I think he'll flourish in that. And, we talked about Lonzo too. It sucks because he's been injured for almost a season now, and he would do really well on the faster side of stuff. And I think Billy, that's kind of what Billy's doing, man. Because you had Kobe White miss a 7th straight game. You don't have Lonzo. You're giving it to Io. Like, he wants to continue to play that game because he's like, oh, well, it was good last year. But, last year when Lonzo and Vooch and Levine and DeMar were on the floor for what, 7, 8, 10 games, something like that. Like, it's not going to work here. It's got to be more of like what Mario was saying. You got to set up these plays.
Yeah.
You got to get up. You got to get up to your side of the floor, reset, and then try to score from there.
Yep.
He said Mario also goes and saying that he likes the fast-paced play too, but our guys are getting gassed hard lately. Hopefully they can get into it too as well.
You know what else though? Doing that, what Rick just said is stopping at once you get to your side of the court, resetting and start setting up plays. That'll help the double team on DeRozan, because then you at least have your guys in place, and when he does get double teamed, they're already there waiting. Just throw it to them or throw it up for them to get it, and then they're able to shoot. But when you're doing that in a fast-paced offense, where you're just running, then he's getting double teamed. Then he's really just throwing it to whoever is closest to him, and you know what I mean. And that's not going to work. So as soon as you're able to reset and you have everybody in place, so when he does get double teamed, that may free up some guys, or at least help them with their shot selection.
Yeah, but even then, so where is the consistency scoring going to come? Because even if with this fast-paced offense, you're going to see, you're seeing these shots been taken, and some of them, let's be honest, guys, some of them are really bad shots. Let's put it out there. They've been some really bad shots. So if you're really going to set up play for a good shot and stuff like that, but even setting up plays, you still have to be consistent in making those shots, either from the mid-range or from 3-point. But the Bulls don't have that consistent scoring, or they don't have that consistent shooter.
Yes, they do. It's that $200 million player that you're always calling out. It's Levine. He has to be
my point. It's not that
he's
consistent.
The thing is, he has to be their best shooter. He has to be in place for wherever his sweet spot is and be able to make those threes, because that's what they're lacking right now. They need a guy who's consistently making threes. If you could throw it to Io, who could dish it out to Vooch and then Levine, or whatever the play call is, right? Get it to your best shooter. Levine shoots threes. Vucevic shoots threes consistently. One of those two guys has to be in. He shoots it though, Eric. When one of those guys
shoots it, but
he shoots it. He makes
he's not
it.
that consistent with it. But
he's consistent when he's on it. Okay, and that's what that reset is supposed to be for. You get guys in their spots, in their place where analytics will tell you more likely than not they will make it from that wherever they are, from that spot, and that's what you got to do. And those are your two guys. It has to be your two guys.
Yeah, but also you got to remember that. I mean, obviously in the NBA you got to create your own shot, but you can still tell that Zach is a slasher, and we're starting to see less and less of that. I think if you start going, because which was the game that the Bulls only went to the line like 8 times and the other team went like almost like 17, 18, 19 times. I think it was the Raptors game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where that's enough. Those are free points, guys, too, as well. Yes, you may, if you're not shooting it, go to the lane, and that's also Zach's strength is going to the lane.
He didn't play
away from that too.
He didn't play that game. He didn't play. That's why you didn't see that many free throws. Levine played the game after.
Okay, cool. Because all right, I wasn't 200% sure.
Levine didn't play that game, but also remember the injury that he's coming off of. That type of injury, you can't really slash as much as you want to. Look at Derrick Rose and what happened to him after all those ACL tears and all that the load management that he was doing with his knees. You didn't see the same Derrick Rose that just slashing going into the paint whenever the hell he wanted. I think Levine is taking a step back, and I mean, lucky for us, right? What a good timing now that he got paid. He's taking a step back a little bit, but I mean, you can't blame him unless he's going to go full throttle in the playoffs or in the end of the season. I get it, but if we don't see it then we have an issue.
I feel like that always happens to like Chicago teams. We pay a guy and then he sucks the next year, and it's like, well, what the hell, right? And I think too, a majority of these free throws have to come also from the point guard position, man. Ayo needs to step it up. Ayo needs to get in there too, because he's a fast guy. He's not someone you kick it out to, on the corner 3 and for him to take that shot. He's not that guy. That's Zach, right? Zach shoots a lot of threes, and I kind of love seeing that from Zach because we paid him we paid him that much money. But Ayo needs to step it up in the point guard position. He needs to be the one that's slashing in there too, not just Zach, not just DeMar from the mid range. And you're right, coming back from an injury like Zach did, he's not going to be able to slash, man. Like, you have to kick it out to him again on the arc, have him shoot up. But I did want to ask with Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams has been taking a lot more shots too. You know, I think he's hit 10 and 15 points 2 of the last 3 games. Are we starting to see that development, or is it kind of like, is it stalling a bit with P. Will? Like, what are your thoughts on that, Jose?
Oh man, I don't know what P. Will. Don't get me started on Patrick Williams. I'm not as big as Patrick Williams as everybody else is, and I don't know why. There's just something about the guy that's kind of like, I think dare I say he's overrated. At least he's been showing it a little bit. I don't know. Look, I hope I'm wrong, Eric.
Eric?
I hope I'm wrong, Eric.
You're always wrong.
Don't give me that. I'm always wrong.
You can't.
Okay,
you
no,
cannot compare. You cannot say he's overrated when he still hasn't played a full season of games under his belt.
That is just an excuse. If you got it, you got it. I don't want to hear it. I have yet to see.
My God,
I have yet to see it with this man. He is healthy. He is playing. Show me something. I don't see it.
Again, what was I saying? Like the numbers that literally Rick just says between 15 points. That's the kind of the number range that Pat Will needs to be for the Chicago Bulls. And lately, yes, he's been looking like he's been stepping up his game simply because he's finally getting that consistent playing time that he's missed out in the last 2 years. This kid is still young. This kid still can't buy beer legally, man. Like you have to relax.
True.
There are some players. Yes, I get it.
I hope I'm wrong.
There are some players that come out of this league and boom, right off the bat, right? And that happens, and that's great scouting, great talent, stuff like that. But at the same time, you gotta understand, like it just depends on what situation you are put in your NBA team. Pat Will didn't start off right away for the Chicago Bulls in his first year. Then he got hurt. His second year, he became that starter. Then he got hurt. This year, he's finally healthy. It looks like, but he's also getting back. He's getting rhythm and finally catching up to the speed of the NBA game that he has not had in the last 2 seasons.
Look
again.
It's the
same conversation that we had when we were working together at the school with Chuck. Kobe White. Kobe White's another perfect example. That's a different story. That was a different story.
Yeah,
the kid is young, but Patrick Williams. I think the only reason why we put this little blame on him or we're spotlighting him because he was picked 4th in the NBA draft. So you expect a lot more. Granted, yes,
that matters.
I agree with that. I agree with that statement. Anything from 1 through 5 in the NBA.
That's the same thing as saying Zach Levine's being paid $20 million. He has to produce. If you're ranked that high, if you're drafted that high in the draft, you got to produce. I'm sorry.
I agree with that one. But again, with Patrick Williams, it's kind of you kind of need to settle down because one, he's still young. And if we're starting to rush him like this is going to be Larry Marketing 2.0, where he might succeed somewhere else. Because the expectation that we want to put on him is very, very high. When in reality, dude barely has a whole season under his belt within the last 2 years. Because
the thing is, the deficiencies that this team has should be his strength. Defensively, the hard nose rebounding. I don't see it from this guy, and that's what this guy has to show us.
And that's the one thing he could play with heart and effort, but the defensive side of the ball, it's kind of like.
And that's what bothers me. I think that's just what bothers me the most. That's why I'm so down on him a little bit. Is because that's supposed to be your strength. That's supposed to be the thing we brought you in for to help us out with, and you're not showing. You're as good as Vooch or you're as bad as Vooch. Regardless, you're seeing it with him. He's starting with him on the floor with Vucevic. That's not working out. And I've already said it. Vucevic is not that type of center. He is supposed to be your stretch 4, someone who you could pick and pop like a Dirk Nowitzki type. But we look at that Dallas Mavericks team with Dirk Nowitzki. He has someone like Tyson Chandler. That's supposed to be Patrick Williams.
He will. Yeah.
And I don't
great
see
comparison.
And I know. And that's why.
Relax, man.
That is supposed to be the
Dirk, bro. Dirk is
that's supposed to be the combination, Eric. And we don't see it, and that's what's bothering me.
No, Dirk is a whole different animal, man. That's a very unfair.
I'm not saying Vucevic is as good as Dirk, right? But he is an all-star. He is when it's his team, they run the offense through him. He's an all-star, right?
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that you with those two guys, you're supposed to have at least that type of tandem or chemistry, like Dirk and Chandler had when in Dallas, and we're not seeing it, which is what bothers me.
Yeah, but you also playing defense in the NBA. It's not just a 1v1 situation. It's also a team effort. And when the team can't defend together as a unit, the one-on-one situations, you're going to look bad 80% of the time. So it's kind of like if you're singling out one player on the defensive side of the ball, you got to also put blame into the other four that are around him because they're also not up to par playing defense, man. It's
That's true
the
too.
NBA in every sport. It's playing defense is a defensive unit. It's a unit type of thing, and the NBA it's shown a lot more so because the court's smaller, the game is faster, and the individual talent you could get exposed quickly. So again, you could be a great on ball defender, but just because you're a great on ball defender and the other four are not good enough, are you really a great on ball defender at the
The
end of the day?
defense collapsed at that point. Yeah.
Exactly. We're gonna go to the comments real quick, boys. Duffman says the reason why we don't have a consistent shooter is because our guys are rushing the shot.
Yeah.
Get them to the plant. I'm thinking paint. Get them to the paint and then set the screen and watch them become more consistent. Booch is more consistent only because we were missing our shots, and he's there for the rebounds and the putback shots. Apparently, he's waiting to put his waiting for Patrick Williams to enter the chat, and also Kobe White has not logged on yet. So, thank you, Duff man.
Poor Kobe, man. He's 7 straight games. What I feel like they should have traded him last year, gotten something for him, man.
I wholeheartedly agree with that one. When his value was so high,
It
like
was
you could
so
just
high.
you just go.
He'd come off the bench, shoot a 3, and it was like, yep, that was it. And I guess they couldn't get anything done. And how are we feeling with Io, man? Again, I kind of mentioned them earlier, but how do we feel at Io starting? Again, it's only been 14 games, right, into the season. And we talked about P. Will. It's early in the season for both these guys, but how are we feeling Io? Io, I feel like the energy has kind of been a little bit down from when he was coming off the bench last year, but what are your guys' thoughts on Io at point guard?
Playing NBA basketball is a whole different beast, right? You come
Yeah.
off the bench and have all this high energy, high expectations, right? But that's it. And simply because one, you only play for like 3-4 minutes, and when you're a starter, your minutes kind of they pick up a little bit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you kind of have to preserve that energy, or you have to be smart with the ball and stuff like that. Again, it's a kid who, even though last year he kind of flourished coming off the bench and being this energetic bunny from the bench. Now that you're a starter, it's a different role and it's a different position. It's different, and you still have to find your pace and you still got to test the waters in becoming an NBA starter. Again,
Mhm.
like Jose says, if you have it, you have it. And some people don't have it, and they take their time building this pace for the NBA. Iowa's going to be okay. Just take the time. It's first year starting. It's all relax. He's still young.
No, I like
Jose?
Io. I give the benefit of the doubt right now. As
Mhm.
Eric said, you've seen what he can do when he's in his proper position.
Yep.
He's a backup point guard, and when he's doing that, he's supposed to be your sixth man. He's supposed to be your energy guy, coming off the bench, able to produce points. That's why I feel Io can become. Starting, as Eric said, you want to give him time to develop in that position. I like Io though. I like his potential. I like what he becomes. So I'm still high on Io. I really am.
I mean, he could be a decent starter in the NBA in the near future or further in the
Yeah,
future,
I
right?
agree.
Yeah.
He could be that guy. But again, at the moment, like especially him being a second round draft pick, it's kind of like, all right, you see what this kid has. You know what this
Mhm.
kid needs to work on. Let him work on it. The game will come to him, and then
See,
that's all we're just waiting on.
he needs to get some more muscle on that body too, man. Like he needs to, I talked about him slashing into getting to the rim. That guy needs to get a little bit bigger, be able to push those guys off him.
I mean, to be honest with you, Rick, I mean, this dude did pull up like I think like 10 or 15 pounds of pure muscle, of
Did
lean
he?
muscle in the offseason. So yeah, he was a lot scrawnier last year. So he
He,
did pull up that muscle. You can only build so much muscle in a position.
he needs 20. He needs 20 more pounds. If I could put on 20 pounds in 6 months, then I think he can do it too.
Nah, man. And then we're talking about then we're talking about
Then
him
we're
going
talking
to the
about
Bears as
different
a
weight.
running back, homie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Duffman goes and says, I think Io's going to be good. I think he became a starter too quickly. He's going to be great, but still needs to be developed, which is I wholeheartedly agree with that one.
Yeah, and I mean he got kind of thrust into the role, right, because of the Kobe White injury, the Lonzo injury, continuously injured. But yeah, he still does need to be developed.
Woo, Sam, what's up, Sam? Welcome to the show.
Sam.
He says the Bulls front offense,
Sam.
AK and Eversley, failed this team. They had a lot of good to build on after last season, yet they failed to take the next steps that were necessary for this team to take the next step. the Bulls will be stuck in mediocrity.
Sounds like Eric.
This, yeah, it sounds like.
I mean, they have a point. As much as I hate to say it, you know, they do have a point. The way it's looking right now, Zach LaVine isn't looking like that $200 million star player that he should be. Now, granted, he got the money because of the market and because we thought at least they would have been worse without it. But now, dare I say, right? And I'm usually the Bulls optimist. Dare I say that I kind of see I probably could have saw better success, or I guess like a more immediate success going the opposite route. Maybe tearing it down a little bit and bringing in younger talent. I don't know, right? But it kind of sucks when Zach LaVine was supposed to be that guy and he's not showing it at all.
And
I don't think he ever was, but that's just me.
I mean, hey, look, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's sad to say, Eric.
So 14 games this season. They got the.
Sorry, Rick, you froze. And
Rick, you froze. That's why we didn't know
that's
you
why
were
we
talking
continued the
about.
conversation.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
my bad. Yeah. So we're 14 games this season. Are we thinking like at least 25 to really judge this season whether or not it's going to go well or not? Or I mean, 6 and 8 right now. It's just not what I expected coming into this second year under Billy Donovan.
What did I say in the beginning? I said like what, January, right?
Yeah, I think you said January.
I said I'll stick to it. I'll give him another month. Let me see what December, the rest of November brings and December brings. And by January, if it's consistently like this, yeah, bro, there's no shot.
There's no shot. Yeah.
I always say I always give the NBA a shot after the football season, but the Bears football season, right? This year I'm giving it till after the World Cup because my Bears season is completely over. Because after that Boxing Day comes and all that stuff. But apparently Sam says Zach LaVine is the biggest thief in Chicago.
You can't get mad at. You can't be mad at him though.
Can't be mad at him. I said it last year. I was being consistent. I was like, if you give Zach LaVine this contract, the Bulls are going to be in basketball hell. Hi guys, welcome to basketball hell. come join the ride over here. Because
it's starting to look like it. It's starting to look like it. Well, the Bulls got the Pelicans on Wednesday, and let's hope they can turn it around. Let's hope something happens. Let's hope Lonzo comes back, maybe makes this team like just a whole lot better. We'll see what happens. We got one more from Mario right here.
Yeah, I got you right here. Oh my bad. Okay. He says, I think the Bulls will turn around soon, but at least we were better than LeBron.
Yes. That does nothing for me though. That does nothing for me. Like it doesn't though. Like so what? They're bad.
Yeah,
that doesn't give me no satisfaction whatsoever.
He should have been bad back in like 2009.
Is that like LeBron's on the Cleveland Cavaliers or Miami Heat when we hated him, right? That's gone. This gives me no satisfaction like it used to anymore. He's bad, bro. They're bad. Like,
where's CP when you need him, man?
Right.
CP. We need the Laker bandwagon, or the Laker fan, or the LeBron fan. Sorry, in CP. And but yeah, man. I mean, you're right. It does me no justice that the Bulls are better than the LeBron Lakers, even if LeBron was still in Cleveland or Miami or whatever team he was, and before then, like it does me no, it gives me no excitement, no happiness, nothing.
No,
not anymore. Not like it used to. No,
not at all.
Not at all.
It's just more like, LeBron's at the end of his career. Cool, got it.
Not even that. Like,
yes, it really is.
But not even that. It's like we used to hate him because he was the reason why we couldn't win or advance further in the playoffs. And now he hasn't been a threat. So it's like, dude, it is expected of them to be bad. Just because we're bad, it gives me no joy.
Yeah, Duff, man. Hey, look, man, I love you, bro. I love you with all my heart. We've been together. We've been knowing each other for like 10 plus years, my man. And I appreciate you, man, and I love you, and you my guy. But you are this quote right here. This quote right here is the epitome of Bulls mediocrity as a fan base and everything else like that, man. I love you, man. I love you so much. But this right here is wwhere we stand by as Chicago Bulls fans, as an organization. That's the Bulls are just a mediocre franchise. And it's like if we find joy from somewhere else instead of our own team, that's yeah.
It does suck. Yeah.
He says LeBron James and happy. James. Yeah, he does the Ren and Stimpy happy joy.
All right. So that was the C-Red segment. Like I said, Bulls have the Pelicans on Wednesday. All right, boys, let's finish it up. with 4 stars of the week. Do you guys want me to go first? Do you guys want to go first? Who wants to go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? The 4th star could be whoever in the comments. Put your 4th star in the comments. We'll let Rick go first. Then the other two, us two, will do it. Then the 4th will be somebody in the comments, whoever it is, or everybody in the comments.
I like it. All right, I'll start it off. My first star of the week is going to be Cole Kmet.
Nice.
2 touchdowns, 74 yards against the Lions. And I mentioned earlier, right? 5 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. His last 3 games, 11 receptions, 126 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns his entire career before that. So I'm giving these 2 to Cole Kmet. And we talked about him too, or at least it's talked about that he is someone who does the little things right, run blocking, pass blocking. He does that correctly as well. But now he's finally starting to get into the offense, finally scoring, end zone threat. He is starting to be that guy for the Bears, and I got to give it to Cole Kmet. That's going to be my first star of the week.
Go ahead, Eric.
That's a good one. I'm sticking to my 4 stars from last year, or one of my stars from last year in my alma mater in South Suburban. They play their first game of Nationals tomorrow. It will be live at 11 a.m. here, 1 p.m. here, 11 a.m. over there. Giving a quick shout out to them. Good luck to the girls next year. As for the Chicago one, mine is Duffman because he is the joy of the southeast side of Chicago. He says he finds joy with the Bulls, and he's always lit at the UC. He's always lit at the UC. He's lit at Soldier Field, and unfortunately, he gets lit at that one garbage of a stadium on whatever avenue on the south side of Chicago.
35th and Shields.
If that's the one, I guess. Yeah, sure.
All right. I was kind of hoping one of you guys went with Justin Fields because we can't go 4 stars of the week without Justin Fields. I wasn't trying to go Justin Fields, but because nobody mentioned him, I'm going to mention it for the second straight week. Because how can you not? How can you not be one of the 4 stars of the week after breaking a record, after another just amazing game, him just showing us and further just prolonging the legend of Justin Fields and what he can become here in Chicago. I mean, easy 4 star of the week there, Justin Fields for sure.
100%. It's just it seems every week that you again, like you said, you can't go without mentioning Justin Fields and what he did on the field, because two weeks in a row he had a 60+ yard rushing touchdown. That's crazy. Insane. I just
yeah, he broke his own record.
Yeah, he broke his own record. That's crazy. I thought he was going to break the rushing record again this week, but he was about 30 yards short.
He's on pace for 1,000 yards rushing as a quarterback, guys.
That's insane. That is insane.
And the crazy part about it, there is going to be no MVP talks because the Bears are ass.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's people mentioning his name in MVP conversation on ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, I get if there was a like how the NBA has all these awards like best water boy off the bench, 6th player of the year, comeback player of the year in the NFL. I think that's a good one, comeback player of the year, even though last year being a shit quarterback and this year just not so good. I mean, being this great,
most improved player,
most improved player in the NBA. All these awards. I mean, if there's something like that, Justin Fields deserves the next best category. Maybe he could be the offensive player of the year or something like that, if that's an award in the NFL. And then Duffman agrees with you. My star of the week, Justin Fields, back-to-back week, baby. He's rushing leader, 60+ yards rushing. Gave me 2 weeks with 50 points in the game. And Justin,
I love it.
Same here. I think the one that me and Duffman are in, I probably feel like that's the only one, that and another one where I don't have Justin Fields as my quarterback. He actually has him. Matter of fact, he has the whole Chicago Bears offense from Mooney to Kmet to the Bears defense. Justin Fields. I think David Montgomery on top of that too.
Hey, I'm gunning for you, Duffman. I think we face in a week or two, but I'm gunning for you, man. I'm going. I'm not going to be last in John's league. I'll tell you that much. And I just beat John this week. He's number 1. So
thank you. I needed that one too because
my team is healthy, Eric. My team is healthy, and I'm going to make a comeback. Let's go.
Nah, it's too late for you, homie.
No, it's not. Too late for you. It's not. I did the math, bro. It's not too late. It is not too late.
Duffman did it from 0-5 and ended up winning John's league a couple years back. So,
oh my God!
Look, you 8 teams make the playoffs. I'm literally 2 games away from 8, and I face everybody 8 through 12 through 11 the next 3 or 4 weeks. So it is definitely a possibility.
Rick, how's your team with the 17 quarterbacks that you have?
I think I made a trade. I think I made a good trade. I'm not sure. I think I still have a losing record. So I don't think I'm going to win it this year, even with because we're a 1 quarterback league. So that was, bad.
Yeah.
But I tried. I had a couple of bites, but I finally got a running back.
Would you guys believe me if I tell you guys I'm trying to look for it in one of my Yahoo leagues that I have with my I actually have a score. You ready for this? I have a score of 314 points to like 97. That's the score line. How much I'm winning. Exactly. I don't know what kind of offensive powers they have in here. Duffman he goes, "Let's go. My team is on the rise." With the entire Bears offense, I'll probably keep producing.
Nah, hell no.
Duffman, I love you, buddy. I miss you. You should hang
I think
out
that'll
soon.
be the 4th star of the week. Just the entire Bears offense for Mario right there. That's going to be the 4th star of the week.
I'm telling you, my star is Duffman for real. That's my star of the week too.
It's Chicago related, right? It's Chicago.
Yeah, he's Chicago related. The Southeast side representing hard right here.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys have anything else real quick before we get out of here?
Yes, Sports Drip Live coming up at 10 o'clock, guys. Make sure to tune in. We're talking UFC 281. Everything that happened there is crazy. We're going to preview Bellator 288, which is coming up this weekend here in Chicago. And then we're also going to preview AEW Full Gear. So we have a good full show. So, yes, that's going to be exciting. Can't wait. So make sure you guys tune in at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, the EAFP podcast will be on Thursday as I give you guys my picks for the quarter to the final. Talk about a little bit more of the FIFA scandal, but also at the same time, just enjoying the tournament too as well. I'm gonna give you my prediction for the game on Monday before the show. And just reminder for everybody, my show, the EAFB podcast, every single day from match day 1 to match day 3 and on to the playoffs for the World Cup. You get to see me every single day. Isn't that lovely, y'all?
Jose, you gonna tune in every single day to see Eric's lovely face?
If I'm not working, yeah. If I'm not,
that's a no.
I love it.
JCA Sports Podcast will be on Wednesday, and Jack's show. What is it? Slap shot.
Come on, put some respect on it, Eric. It's hockey.
I feel like it's slap shot for some odd reason because that's a quote. That's a term in hockey. That's true. That's what I'm going with. His podcast on Thursday too as well. Rick, when is your show on?
So we're gonna record Only Football here in a bit, but it's gonna come out on all streaming platforms tomorrow on Tuesday, and then also again on Wednesday as we recap Week 10, and then we're gonna give our Week 11 predictions, and then 3 Up 3 Down. I think no episode this week, not until the following week. Was there you guys gonna get another 3 Up 3 Down MLB podcast? So
there you go. And as always, guys, make sure you guys always follow, like, and share not only just the Star 6 Media platform, but also all the other platforms too as well on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Make sure you always like and share all of our episodes, not just Big League Chicago, but all the other podcasts that are on Star 6 Media platform on all social medias.
Yep.
But that'll be it, right?
Guys, great episode. Thank you guys for joining us. Everybody in the comments, love it. And we will see you guys next time. Stay tuned for Sports Strip Live. See ya.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. It'll be up next here on Star 6 Media.
I feel like Mike Jordan, give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 4-2, we rap the game.